Welcome to the third edition of Kigali Global Dialogue. Today, I have a very special guest with me, His Excellency Moussa Mara. He has been Prime Minister of Mali between 2014 2015. He is currently also a member of Club de Madrid. And today, we have a very special topic to cover, which is the great post-pandemic Africa and world disorder. My name is Velina Tchakarova. I'm founder of FACE for a Conscious Experience, and I'm also a visiting fellow of ORF. Your Excellency, welcome.
Thank you very much, and very glad to attend this interview and to give my opinion about the topic we are talking about.
As we've all known and witnessed, the pandemic had a lot of ripple effects for the global economy, for the environment, but also, of course, for societies. And Africa has been hard hit. Now, I would like to hear your view on how actually the continent has dealt with the pandemic, and more importantly, with the post-pandemic world. What is also your personal experience with these post-pandemic challenges that Africa is facing?
The first thing is Africa uh, was touched as the other continent by the pandemic, but not as we scared at the beginning of the pandemic uh, regarding the health situation in Africa, the health management system in Africa. A lot of people was very scared about the impact. Uh, our health system is very weak, as we know. But fortunately, in terms of the number of cases and the number of deaths, Africa was touched less than the other continent. And this situation could be explained by several things. The first is the proportion of youth in African people. And the average age in Africa is 21 years. We are a continent with a huge proportion of youth. And this situation helped the continent to face pandemic strongly compared to the other continent. The second thing is, I think, is the climate. The climate in Africa is a tropical one, and with a warm, more heat in Africa compared to Europe and America. And this situation help Africa to face pandemic with efficiency compared to the other continent also. And the last one is the Africa is an area with the presence of malaria. Malaria is endemic in Africa. And all of us, we used to take a use cure against malaria. And the situation showed the cure against malaria helped to face uh, COVID-19. That's also helped a lot of countries, like my country and other country, to have a very low rate, yeah, in terms of cases and in terms of death. This situation helped Africa to have a best results faced to COVID-19 in terms of cases and in terms of death. But economically, the consequences was very huge for Africa as the other country. And regarding the financial situation of our state, a lot of government couldn't help companies and people like in Europe and like in US. And this situation caused a lot of damages in African economy. And that's why, for me, the huge consequence, the most important consequence of COVID-19 in Africa is economically and financially also. And after this period, now the period of post-pandemic, We need more solidarity with between the rich countries in Africa. And we need also to strengthen our regional health system. We have some regional agencies in Africa, West Africa, Central Africa, and the entire continent. We need to strengthen that to help us to face maybe to the next. And I don't hope that, but nobody knows to face to the next eventually pandemic. This is what we can say about this situation.
You rightfully pointed out that there have been a lot of successful stories in dealing with COVID-19 on this continent, and there has been a previous experience also on the continent with fighting viruses. And you're probably right that this would not be the last pandemic, unfortunately, given the interconnectedness of our world. But also, what I found really very important yesterday at the inauguration was the statement by the ORF president, Dr. Samir Saran, who said that after the pandemic, so in a post-pandemic world, we all have smaller hearts. So I think that one of the main points that you made was, how to heal together. So, what would be your recommendation, let's say, for the industrial, countries, for those who had the opportunities, the possibilities to, develop vaccines programs, to, stockpile a lot of vaccines, whereas other parts of the world were struggling, to get any vaccines. So, what would be your, most important recommendation, given the scenarios that we may, face another similar situation, and we want to do it better next time, and to actually show that we can again have bigger hearts when dealing with this kind of humanity issues?
I have two kind of answer to this question. The first is a common answer, but I don't believe really in that, but I will start by that. The first is multilateralism. We need a strong multilateral system, even in the health management system. We have a WHO for the world, and in Africa, we have a regional service of WHO. The problem is this agence has no financial resource, even no power to do uh, all things he has to do. We need to strengthen WHO. We need to strengthen the regional service of that. And we need to push up more solidarity between industrialized countries and the other countries. This is a common answer. I don't really believe in that. The second part of my answer is in Africa. We have in Africa our organization, which is African Union. And African Union has its own policy, even in the health system. And I am sure we have enough skills, enough human resources, even enough financial resources in Africa, if you want seriously to settle a strong health system in Africa on our own. I believe more in that. And I wish Africa will take the responsibility faced to its own people and to settle a real strong health system. Maybe in the regional way. We have 5 big regions in Africa: West, East, Central, South, and North. Each one may have his own regional health system by gathering the means from the different country compose this region. And Africa has the responsibility to try to settle its own system. If the other country, and especially the industrialized country, accept to help us, okay. If not, we have to move forward. And I think we have to count in our own means. There is a lot of subjects, a lot of topics, even climate change, in which the solidarity is more a question of words than a question of action. And I am not sure it will change in the near future. That's why the common answer is solidarity, multilateralism. But if you want to be realistic, you must focus your attention on your own and try to do your best with how you can manage and you can gather to do that.
And speaking about how to turn the equation of words into an equation of actions, there is one great example, and that is the ambitious Agenda 2063. Would you elaborate a little bit and give your own personal perspective on, on the challenges of the implementation of the agenda in a post-pandemic world, given all the realities that you've elaborated on, and what I find, personally find very, very impressive is that, as you've also outlined, that is that Africa has all the resources, the human resources, the natural resources, the Arabic land, the economic growth prospect. It is the continent with one of the best economic growth outlooks. So how to cope these worlds, the world of the words and the narratives and the promises, and the world of actions and deliverables. What will be your view on that?
The 2063 agenda is a very interesting idea decided by African Union a few years ago. And what is interesting is at the same moment we are on Kigali dialogue, there is a meeting here in Kigali with African Union staff to work on how to precise the steps, the concrete step for settling the 2063 agenda. The problem of this kind of outlook, this kind of huge program, is it is more theoretical than pragmatic. If we have to reach some targets in 40 years in the future, 63 is exactly in 40 years. It is for the 1 century of African Union. We have to prepare and to plan the action which must be done in 2023, 2024, 2026. This is the lack of, and this is the weakness of the agenda. They are working on here in Kigali at this moment to try to adopt a concrete action which can be done immediately, now, next year, next 10 years. And within this action, what could be interesting is to work on the health system. When they adopted the Agenda 63, the health was not so emergent like now. And they have maybe to correct a little bit the Agenda 63 to put the strengthening of our health system in the continental way at one of the top targets of the Agenda 63. I hope they will do that, because the pandemic, we learn a lot from the pandemic. They have to do that, and they have to take a concrete action. This is our weakness in Africa. We talk, we plan, we are theoretical, we are not enough concrete. And after that, what we need also is a strong political willingness, and especially from some great countries in Africa. Africa has 54 countries, but among these 54 countries, there is maybe 6, 7, or 8 which must take the leadership. And it is not yet the case now. The big countries like South Africa, Nigeria, uh, Egypt, Algeria, they are not taking the leadership of African Union action as they must do. And I think they have to take this responsibility regarding the growth, regarding the GDP, regarding the history, their political power. This is one of the weakness of the different program of African Union. I hope they will do that.
Your Excellency, when we also think in terms of 30, 40 years, and you pointed out some of the main challenges. One of the challenges is that the global community is also not united, that we have a lot of competition, a lot of fractures, a lot of fragmentation in this post-pandemic world. Do you think that these fractures in the global community will lead also to, let's say, incoherent response and incoherent approach towards Africa? Will we face, let's say, a new competition also on the ground that would, let's say, probably enhance some animosities, result in some kind of new conflicts in Africa, given the realities, in global affairs? What is your outlook for that? And if that would be the case in global affairs, how could actually Africa as a continent, as a community of 54 states, prevent actually these animosities and this competition to take place on the ground, because this is the last thing that Africa needs right now. Another scramble for resources or for external influence.
For me, the competition is not a bad thing. And the world that I foresee will be a competitive world. And Africa has to take advantage in that. More competition, and especially between the huge power, the huge countries, the powerful countries, more competition could be interesting for Africa. But we need to prepare ourselves face to that. And to prepare ourselves, make mandatory to strengthen the integration in Africa, trade integration, and to harmonize our policy, to harmonize our vision. And that needs a strong leadership among the different regions. For me, Africa means 54 countries, but means 5 regions. And each region must be led by a huge country. If I take the example of the West, Nigeria is naturally the leader of the West. But this situation needs in Nigeria a leadership aware of that, aware of the responsibility, the regional responsibility of Nigeria. In the north part, it is a little bit difficult between the problem between Morocco and Algeria, it is some difficulty. Southern part, this is naturally South Africa. That's why for me, we have to take advantage in the future competition. For me, it is sure there will be a huge competition between not only US and China, it will be India, it will be Brazil, it will be Turkey, and even Russia. And this is good. This is good for international relationship, and this is good also for Africa. But that needs for us to prepare ourselves, to be skillful, to be smart, and to try to take advantage on this competition different level. We have not to be aligned on country, to work only with one country, to reflect as black or white. Everything is all black or white. No. We have to be pragmatic, to take advantage in all situations that we are faced, and to organize ourselves to do that. I think there is an opportunity for Africa, but that needs some intelligence, some organizing capacity, and some political willingness. This is my opinion about that. This is a huge topic, and for sure, the future of Africa will be shaped by our abilities to take advantage on the world we are facing to the future.
Your Excellency, thank you very much for your insights and for your excellent perspectives on the
Thank you.
future of Africa in a post pandemic world.
Thank you very much.